Hello again, it's Trudy from Hot Patterns here with another one of our fabulous and short but perfectly formed YouTube clips, and this one is our very first skirt clip, and we thought for the very first skirt one that we should do a really simple, very basic pattern just because it gives you a lot of kind of mental ideas, different things to it. So this one is the plain and simple 24/7 A-line and pencil skirts, and we've started off with the A-line skirt for this one. Now the reason I'm doing this particular one first, this pattern first, is that when you start pattern drafting, this is the very first shape that you learn to draft for a skirt. First you draft the pencil, then you manipulate it into an A-line. It's the very first thing you learn to do, and that is because the A-line and pencil skirts are the skirt shapes from which all other skirts are generated. Everything, any other skirt you can think of, this is where it starts, I promise you. So it's really useful to show you the basic skirt pattern and show you why it's so good. And obviously I'm going to tell you, why it looks great, what you wear with it, what bigger shapes it suits, and I'll show you some variations. But for this one, we thought we'd do something extra. We've actually done an extra separate clip on how to fit a muslin for this particular one, which is like, ooh, very exciting. If you've never fitted a muslin, you need to go and see that one as well. So before we do that, we're going to look at the basic skirt. This is the A-line version of the pencil and A-line skirts, quite clearly. And this is what I would call your last minute skirt. By which I mean it's the kind of thing you have in your closet for the last minute occasions. The job interview that comes from left field, the parent-teacher conference you've got to go to, the last minute cocktail party or dinner or drinks or whatever you have to go to. This skirt will work for all of those. And even if you hate skirts, even if you never wear black, you need this skirt in black in your closet. I promise you, you really do. Now I've used for this one a really nice cotton polyester twill from fabric.com, and I used it because I was actually having a discussion with a sewing friend a while ago, and I was bemoaning the fact that when I was doing these clips I really had no kind of basic fabrics in my stash, and I have a big fabric stash, let me assure you. And she said something very telling. She said, well, we don't stash basics, we just stash pretty things. And I thought, you're absolutely right. So I ordered some swatches from fabric.com and I checked out this cotton poly twill, and it's great. It looks, on screen it doesn't look like anything, in the hand it's beautiful. It's a really nice fabric. So I've used this for quite a few of the variations I'm going to show you as well, because it just works really well. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go through the basics of the pattern, why it works, and then I'm going to turn it inside out and show you some construction details too, because I think that'll be quite useful for you. So this particular pattern does not have a waistband. What it does is it finishes at the natural waist, which means kind of here-ish. And it's got like about 1.25 inch contoured waistband facing, you could call it. And then it just has very simple single darts front and back, side seams, hem. That's it. It's a really simple piece. And because it's a simple piece, it's the kind of thing you will have in your closet forever, because it will, I promise you, it's going to go with so many things. And because it's going to be in your closet forever, it's really worth you making it with all the bells and whistles, all the goodies, the interlining, the lining, the invisible zip, and all that kind of stuff, because you're going to wear this one into the ground, so it makes sense to make it really sturdy to start with. Now on this one, you can see I put it on the stand now. I should really break the terrible news to you that I've had to pad this stand out quite a bit, because quite clearly I do not possess a supermodel physique. I know it's a shock, but what are you going to do? But rather than sit in the corner and boo-hooing about, oh, I'm not the same size as my stand, let's pad it out, what the heck. So it kind of fits my skirts. And also, yeah, I've made all these skirts to fit me, because you didn't think I was going to just make them for this and then just put them in the closet, did you? That would be wrong. These are for me. So this one here sits at the natural waist. It's got a very gentle curve over here, and it really doesn't sit out very wide. This is what I would call a narrow A-line. You don't need a centre-back slit in it or a side slit in it. You can walk in it perfectly acceptably as it is, but it's just got that very slight A-line kick to it. And if I turn it around the back, I'm actually hoping you will not see that there's an invisible zipper. That's the point with invisible zippers, you're not meant to see them. But it's just zipped through the centre-back seam here. And I've actually fitted it through the centre-back seam because I'm blessed with a, shall we say, excessively large bottom, so I needed to kind of really fit that. So that's it in its basic form. Really simple, goes with everything. If you're going to wear an A-line skirt like this, you can get away with a flat shoe, for sure, some kind of ballet flat or something, but it will look infinitely better if you wear it with a slight heel. just inch and a half or so. You don't have to go into like skyscrapers, but it will always look better with a tiny bit of a heel. But it works, as you can see, with just like a simple knit top. It'll work with a shirt or a blouse tucked into it. It will look fabulous with a matching or a contrast jacket. And it's the kind of thing that you can wear everywhere. I think the only places you can't wear a skirt like this is doing some kind of athletic activity, like I wouldn't want to do yoga in this, or doing some kind of, you know, hiking or camping or something. Anything else, this is the very skirt for you. So now I'm going to turn it inside out on the stand. I'm going to show you some construction details which are going to be really useful for you when you come to make this. So now I put it on the stand inside out. The first thing that hits you is, ooh, pretty lining, how lovely. And I often do this with very, very simple pieces because, you know, looking at a black A-line skirt in your closet, it's not going to make your heart beat faster and go, oh, I must wear it. So you must have something pretty on the inside. And also, this is a really nice, almost a habit-high weight printed silk, which I think is really, really pretty. And I will be making a jacket to go with this, the same lining, so it's all going to mix really, really well. So I've used a printed lining just really for my own wearing pleasure. Why the heck not? My skirt, I can do what I like. And you can see on the inside, I have faced out the waistline with self fabric. The interfacing goes on the outside layer. This one is not interfaced, and you need to make sure that your waistline is stabilised with this skirt, because if you don't, it's got a slight curve, it's going to stretch. So that's why we use interfacing and stay stitching around here. Now the interesting thing on the construction is actually at the back and the hem, so I'm just going to turn this around for you. Now, there are ways to actually insert your zipper with your lining so that the lining is all sealed in like this. And I haven't done this on this for a reason. And my reason is this one is going to be worn a lot. This one is going to be laundered a lot, and it's going to be pressed a lot. And you cannot press a skirt properly if your lining is all sealed in. You really can't. You're either going to get a beautiful outside layer and the lining's going to be crumpled, or vice versa. So I always do it so I can actually pull the lining up, and I'm going to do that now. Jeremy Spielberg is going to zoom in for you, and I'll show you the hem detail. So this is the hem detail I'm going to show you, and when you look at it you'll probably think, that's a bit bizarre, but trust me, on couture skirts and dresses this is used a lot, and you won't find it in ready to wear because it's too expensive to do, but of course you're making your stuff, so you can do what you like. So this is what I've done. I've done the lining is separate from the dress, and I've done a little tiny popper here. I've actually used a black popper, and I've done a thread loop, a chain of loops, and you undo it like this so you can actually get inside it. And what you'll notice is that I can get right inside the skirt, because I've done it at the side seams and I've done it at the centre back as well, I beg your pardon, at the centre front as well, and I can get right inside it like this. Now you can see here the interlining. Now I could lie to you and say, well, I did the interlining in a lovely dark green silk organza so you could see it. That would be a lie, and I won't do it. I basically used this because it's what I had to hand. And frankly, I'm not going to see it unless I'm pressing it, and at that point I don't care, I'm pressing, what do I care? So I interlined it with silk organza. I've got my nice deep seam allowances here, and if I hook this up here, you'll see I've also got a nice deep hem facing, and this is cut on the bias. And again, this is something that ready to wear really doesn't do unless it's extremely high-end ready to wear, or it's couture, which is horrendously expensive because it's too pricey to do. It really, really is. So I've done this because it basically makes it hang better. It looks much nicer. Didn't interface this because this is bias, obviously, but and then it gets sewn by hand onto the interlining here, so you get no stitches showing through. So that's the construction on the inside, and you know, when you drop the lining down, it still looks very pretty, it's very nice, but you can, as I say, pull the whole thing up to press the inside of it and press the lining separately, and then you drop it back down. And the other thing to point out with you, the construction of this one is, you can see at the sides I have not put in hanging loops, and there's a reason for this. I didn't just forget, which can happen of course. The reason I don't put in hanging loops is this: if you're anything from like about a size 14 upwards, you will find that when you put hanging loops on and you hang it on a hanger, the middle of your skirt collapses like this, and you get kind of drag lines and creases, and over a period of time, if you don't wear it very often, it's going to start dropping and draping and looking really horrible. So I don't put hanging loops on my skirts because I'm clearly quite bigger than 14. What I do is I use the clip hangers, and I put a little bit of felt on the inside. I glue a little bit of felt onto the inside of the clips and just clip them up like that so they hang straight at the top. So that's a really good tip for you. Size 14 or over, really don't bother with it unless you've got bigger hangers and therefore a bigger closet, which is unlikely. Use the clip hangers and put some felt on the inside of them, and they'll wear much better. And that means that a skirt like this, that's a real classic skirt, you'll have in your closet for years and years and years, and you'll wear it forever. So now I've shown you the basic skirt, which of course looks very strange now we just got it with the lining. I'm going to go on to the muslin, the introduction to the muslin, tell you all about muslins, and after that I'll be fitting the muslin, and then right at the end we've got a separate clip with 3 beautiful variations that I think you'll really, really like.